Let's jump into the actual main news, and then we got a lot to talk about. So this story is it's happening. From the Daily Mail, Portland Police's entire riot squad resigns after cop was indicted for striking activist photographer who they insist was a rioter with baton during violent protest. Saw government building set alight. They said the Portland Police Union said the officers would be leaving the squad in response to the indictment on Tuesday of member Corey Budworth. Budworth was charged with assault related to an August 18th, 2020 incident in which he allegedly struck a photographer, Terry Jacobs, with a baton. The police union said the officers were set upon by 200 protesters and that Budworth had accidentally hit Jacobs in the head. They have also claimed Jacobs was part of the riot. She was not charged with any crime and was awarded a $50,000 settlement by the city of Portland over the incident. Despite the resignation, the officers would remain employed by the Portland Police Department. It's not clear how this will affect the department's ability to respond to riots. You know what? I really love how they say it's the riot squad responding to protests.
Yeah.
Can we just say the riot squad responds to riots?
Yeah.
I guess they do respond to protests too. So they're not quitting the entire department. They just are refusing to go out during riots anymore.
And here's another thing in their defense is that you see in a lot of these places, they arrest people and then it's just a revolving door. The prosecutors aren't going to do anything and explicitly so. So then it's like, wait, I got to get in the middle of this drama. People are going to be throwing whatever at me. Everyone's going to hate me. I'm going to arrest this person. The person's going to be like, just walk right out the door. Like at the very least, like, why am I putting in all this effort?
It's worse than that now. And this is what I love about it. I've been going on, people were tweeting at you because I said abolish the police.
Yeah.
They were like, Michael, you've done such great work with Tim.
That's true.
And but my reason for abolish the police is not the same as yours, I think.
Okay.
Although I do think definitely the conversations we've had have been influential to my opinions as well. I think the reason they should be leaving is because they can't do their jobs functionally anymore.
I agree.
It's not, so we agree, but I think you're more of the anarchist, the police are bad across the board. I definitely agree with you on the gun thing for sure. That was like a good argument. But what we're seeing now is not only will the police, if they arrest someone, nothing happens to that person, they're actually arresting the cops now.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Imagine the kind of feckless, pathetic, spineless jellyfish cop you'd have to be to turn around and arrest your own cop who is doing literally what the city told him to do.
Well, that guy's a hero because that means that those cops who are enforcing a constitutional law should be arrested, right? So those are the good guys.
So then what happens is one by one they'll start arresting each other.
I mean, I don't know one by one, but in all seriousness, I'm no friend of the police, and I always say and I will defend that every cop is a criminal. But at a certain point, it's just like, you feel, I'm sure the vast majority of people who are police officers feel, all right, it's a tough job. Someone's got to do it. And I'm really helping people. I'm stopping murders. I'm stopping rapists. Like, little kids are not getting snatched. Yeah, it sucks, but someone's got to do it. I'm doing a good job of it. At a certain point, if in any gig, like if you had Ian here and you're like, Ian, you can only talk for 30 seconds every hour. It's at a certain point, it's like, why am I even here? Like, what am I doing here? Right. So it's the same thing. It's like, I have this job and I have my fantasy or my, ideal version of what it's going to be. And my boss is not only not allowing me to do it, but is taking steps to prevent me to do it. It's just like, how much respect do you have for me? I'm getting crapped on by the people in the street. I'm getting crapped on by my boss and my colleagues. How am I going to have dignity for my home?
Well, let's take it one step further. Let's say,
please, let's take it as many as possible.
No, here's what I mean. Let's say, like Luke's joined us on the show. He comes in periodically. Imagine if I said, here's the only things you're allowed to talk about. Make it really, really difficult for him. And then he actually does what I tell him to do. And I get mad because it just, for some reason, caused me problems. So I lock him in the basement.
And you
that's insane.
And publicly denounce him. That's the other. No. I'm serious because these cops' names are public. So that means they're known by all their neighborhood that I got arrested for doing my job. That's not going to feel nice.
Well, how dare you equate me to a cop? First of all, second of all, the police union chief had a very interesting comment. He said our RT members do not volunteer to have Molotov cocktails, fireworks, explosives, rocks, bottles, urine, feces, and other dangerous objects thrown at them.
Yes, they do.
He noted that the team members volunteer for the work without any specific pay. So these members are stepping down out of this response unit. The mayor, Wheeler, asked them, please, don't do this. Don't do this. And then the police responded, well, too bad. We're doing this anyway, after, of course, all the major political decisions that have been happening in Portland.
Now here's the best part. Imagine I ask Luke to come on the show. I then say, here's the only things you're allowed to say. Then even when he just does what I asked, I publicly denounce him.
Yeah.
Luke, instead of quitting the show, says, well, I won't talk about foreign policy anymore. And he keeps coming to the show. These cops, they're resigning from the Riot Squad.
Right.
And they're staying with the city, staying under the boot of the corrupt system that's literally trying to put a cop in jail because they sent him out at a riot.
I was trying to talk nice about the cops. You're making it harder.
Oh, no, I won't have it, man. I've been saying for a while. You know that woman in Minnesota? She shot the guy. He was a wanted felon for a gun charge or armed robbery. What was her name? Kimberly
Potter. Kim Potter.
Yeah, this was during the Chauvin trial. She was she was going for a taser, and then she pulled her gun on accident. She shoots the guy. And
okay.
I said, I hope, good, prison, right to prison.
Course.
Because
negligence,
Well, there's two things. One is you are responsible for anything that comes out of your gun, period.
100%.
However, if she actually shot him, she would have been justified. Not that I'm happy that it happened. It's a sad, tragic story. But he was a wanted fugitive who had a gun and jumped in his car. The point is, as I've described it, the people of Minnesota, the officers, and of Portland are standing inside a burning building.
Yeah.
We've warned them repeatedly to get out. And in response to a giant beam smacking one of the cops in the head, they go, well, we'll stand in the kitchen instead of the living room. It's like, maybe just get out, dude. I've got a lot of messages from cops who have said they're the cops that I refer to as the good cops who got out when they saw how bad it was getting. And these are the cops who want to save little kid from getting kidnapped. These are the cops who want to stop the drug dealers from destroying our neighborhoods. These are the cops who want to make sure the crime isn't skyrocketing in New York City, but they can't do it anymore. They're getting targeted. They're getting arrested. So they're quitting. And even in the military, there's similar things happening with locals.
I saw your face, Michael, and I agree with you, because if we look at policing, the last few months, what have they been doing? They've been arresting religious pastors. They have been arresting private businesses. They have been enforcing unconstitutional, illegal decrees of politicians and destroying people's livelihoods while protecting the billionaire class. The NYPD, the Florida Police Department, prosecutors, judges, the FBI, intelligence agencies all looked the other way for 30 years when it came to children being hurt in the most unspeakable ways with Mr. Epstein. So there's a lot of discontent to bring up there, especially with what's happening in Canada right now, where there was a horrible video of a pastor being arrested in front of his children. Maxine Bernier was just arrested for hosting a political rally. Right now, the police in Canada are absolutely out of control, and I do believe we need to strike a balance, but we need to have an honest conversation that's not just one-sided on the issue.
There have been a lot of problems with cops for a very, very long time, but let's just keep in mind the stuff we're seeing over the past year and into now, a lot of the cops you'd probably have left.
Yeah. I was looking at my phone because a cop messaged me and he said, because of your work, I'm quitting the force and I'm mailing you my badge and I'm going to private security. And I wanted to give him a shout out, which maybe I'll look for it later, but it's very kind of moving that I even for one person that he's like, okay,
Yes.
I at the very least, even if you're going to stay in the force, acknowledge what it is that you're doing. Like I can even wrap my head around, okay, I'm violating the Constitution and I'm disarming people, but it's for a greater good. Fine. Like I could wrap my head around that.
I told this story before. When I went and was getting my first gun, the gun shop in Jersey said they had a big problem where a woman. So if you live in the South Jersey area, you're 10 minutes from Philadelphia. Like you cross the bridge, you're in Philadelphia. In Pennsylvania, you're allowed to bear arms. Like very, really great, good laws, not perfect. Well, a woman was armed legally, and she was going to Atlantic City. Didn't look up the laws in New Jersey. She made that mistake. Yeah. Cop actually arrested her on a felony charge. It's like, why would the cop do that? Why wouldn't the cop say, ma'am, you are not allowed to have this weapon here in New Jersey. I'm going to escort you back to the bridge. You made a mistake. I understand. Please leave. Take your gun home to where it's legal for you to keep. Come back to my state without that weapon. Instead, he's just like, oh boy, I got one. You're going to prison, lady. Ha ha.
I'm thinking about what you said about abolish the police. I'm wondering, and correct me if I'm wrong, if what you're really saying, what you're saying is, got one out.
Did you see? I did.
I loved every minute of it.
Kathy Newman, Jordan Peterson himself.
Shout out to Kathy. But that you're suggesting that police boycott the department or strike on the department if it's corrupt.
Yes.
Not abolish the entire system of
it's
policing.
a little bit more nuanced, but that is the gist of the point. The other thing I'm saying is, if the police force is becoming more and more corrupt, and some would argue, especially Black Lives Matter and Antifa, and even ANCAPs, anarchists on the right, any capacity, that they've been corrupt for a very, very long time. Notably, Michael.
I don't like that word corrupt here because I think they're not being dishonest. I think they're just being forced through politics to do things in a certain way.
So I'll put it this way: if the police are no longer serving the interests of the public,
let's do that. Yeah.
Then why would I want to fund something that causes harm to good people? If you're a cop and you want a better society, to be a hero, to help, then you need to reconcile one very important circumstance. Black Lives Matter and Antifa have been smashing up buildings and destroying, setting fires, and these people are not going to jail. But if I choose to keep and bear arms in some ridiculous, twisted rule, if it comes into play, the cops will arrest me for that. So if you look at Chicago, for example.
And mandatory minimums often.
Right.
So it's not like you're going to get off that it's like, oh, it's your first time, it's an innocent mistake. It's like that judge has to sentence you often.
Yep. So this is the law. So the cops need to understand, even if I've had cops message me saying, look, we just arrest lawbreakers. It's the DAs you're mad at. And I said, no. If you personally know this, and you do because you're emailing me and you watch the show, that the district attorneys, you are going to, if you know that if you arrest one Antifa and one conservative and send them both the DA, and the DA laughs and sends the Antifa on his way and then welcomes the conservative into prison for bearing arms, you are the one delivering people to prison. And you can, and the officers can make the choice to say, like I said with the New Jersey lady, look, lady, ma'am, you got a good cop right here. I'm going to escort you back to the bridge. It's a 10-minute drive. You're going to go home. You're going to leave that gun. Otherwise, some other state trooper is going to lock you up, and I don't want to see that happen. No, he didn't. He just said, ma'am, you're under arrest. The story was he pulls her over, and she did the right thing. Officer, I am armed. We just want to let you know. And he goes, right away, ma'am, please step out of the vehicle. She gets up, put your hands behind your back. Is something wrong? Ma'am, quiet, hands behind your back. Arrest her. You're under arrest. It's illegal. It's a felony to carry that weapon in New Jersey. That's it. And she freaks out. She's panicking. A middle-aged woman going to go to the casino and have a good time. Broke no laws. Was legally bearing, well, I should say constitutionally bearing her arm. But in New Jersey, they say it's statutorily illegal. And the cop had no problem sending a middle-aged woman into the prison system. Fortunately,
Which
however,
is traumatic.
the NRA apparently got involved and then made a big stink. And the DA dropped the charges and told her not to do it again.
But
They don't do that for people in inner city Chicago, for
That's
young black
awesome,
men
though.
who want to protect themselves because there's gang violence. I got no sympathy for somebody who wants to join gang violence.
what about the old black ladies who are going to be left in New York City when everyone moves out and who are in the projects who can't afford to move?
Absolutely.
Lauren Chen, who you guys have had on, who I
Yeah.
adore. You know how sometimes someone just says one sentence that's kind of just light bulbs you and
Yeah.
like just rattles you for a
She's
long time.
great.
She's the best. She was on my show. I was hers. I don't remember. And she was having an issue in Canada because her dad had cancer.
Yes.
And for like a year, he couldn't even get like a scan. It was something absolutely crazy. And she just goes, "Why am I funding my own oppression?" And I was like, "Holy, like you like Lauren, you like nailed it." And it's the kind of thing where it's just like, yeah, why am I paying these high taxes in these cities so that the cops can leave me unsafe in my own home where I can't have a gun to protect myself, which is my God-given constitutional right and none of your business.
Right? That's it. I mean,
While you guys are ginning up as much unrest and burn it all down as possible at the same time.
so my issue is I'm in New Jersey. I had a cop actually tell me to go buy a gun because someone tried breaking in. And then I looked up the law and they're like, if the guy did break in and you did shoot him, you go to prison.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? He broke into my house though. And like, we should have left. Like, where am I supposed to go? It's my house.
It's a big house.
Like, am I? No. This is back in Jersey.
It was pretty
Small
big.
house.
Okay. Yeah, small. Okay.
It was okay
I'm
size.
kidding, I'm joking,
So,
of course. I like
five bedroom. But am I supposed to just go jump my fence in my backyard and go stand in the middle of the street?
Yeah.
You're
In my underwear?
You're supposed to die and be a statistic, and then they could say, "Look, we're fighting gun violence is at an all-time high. We need more cops."
Right.
That's what Lori Lightfoot is
So-
doing right now. Her emails were also leaked
Yeah.
recently, and people are
Mayor of
finding out
Chicago.
the true picture of who she really was. But places like Chicago and New York City have absolutely atrocious self-defense laws where even if you get attacked first, you defend yourself, you cause any mark or harm to the perpetrator, you go to jail.
Yeah.
No matter what the situation, no matter what the
Let me-
circumstance. And these officers don't care.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.